So this week I sit down with Boston's own Donnie Wahlberg, and I think if you're from Boston, almost like the Kennedys, you know the Wahlberg family. Donnie started off in a band called New Kids on the Block, and that was in the late 80s. When the New Kids went away, this guy kind of had a rebirth in acting and in film. This guy has more energy than most people I know. He's got 4 hit TV shows on TV right now. He's touring with New Kids on the Block. He's doing it with Blue Bloods. He's doing it with Boston's Finest. He's doing it with Wahlburgers. And now he's got Donnie Loves Jenny. 4 TV shows that are doing very well on television. This guy is doing something right.
Now, I remember getting out of high school and the girls were watching this video, Please Don't Go Girl, and somebody was like, yeah, those guys are from Boston. And I remember thinking, like, they're from Boston? Like, nobody from Boston gets fame. That's out, like, in LA, which should have been Mars to me.
My old man told me when I was young, I remember when I first told him I was gonna join a band. There was no band, of course. It was just me and my brother Mark and a music producer from Boston. But I said, hey, Dad, you know, I'm gonna start this band with this music producer. He was like, yeah, okay. And he's sitting on the couch with a Schlitz in his hand. And he says, yeah, great. And I said, no, Dad, I'm serious. And if it were any of my other brothers or any other situation, he probably would have said, yeah, how about you just shut up and go get a job?
I don't know, man. That was just so cool for me to see you guys go from that to international superstardom. How did that change you when you were coming up at that age? And how did it affect your family?
Well, I think the first thing that happens is it changes everyone around you quick. Some people want to be a friend now because you're famous. Some people try not to be a friend because they don't want to look like they're trying to be your friend because you're famous. There's always a thing. You can't just walk into a room and be, hey, there's Donnie from
Did your family
Dorchester.
treat you that way?
No, I think it was an adjustment. But like I said, I always had the same role in my family. When my parents split up, you know, I remember at 13 and 14 years old, I'd be planning Christmas. I'd be like, all right, calling all my brothers and sisters. We're going to Dad's house on Christmas Eve, be at Mom's at 11 o'clock tomorrow on Christmas Day. That's just,
you just chose to
the
take that
role
role.
I had, yeah. And I was the 8th of 9, so it was difficult being a kid and being sort of the breadwinner, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a delicate thing, you know, to not allow that to happen. And I think we did a good job of it. I think we maintained a balance in the family and stuff like that.
Seems like you guys still have a very good relationship, too.
Yeah,
right?
as I said, we didn't have that level of aspirations, but to have that high a level of success at such a young age, it felt like there was another reason for it. Yeah, for
and
sure.
throw in that age, that's even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
I just chalked it up to, you know, it was the universe's way of paying my parents back for all the crap they went through and all the struggles they had. And so I just made it a point to just do all I could for my family, you know.
It made me think of after, I think it was 94, after Face of the Music was 94 maybe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when that kind of broke up in that year, you must have thought, this is it, we're done. I gotta do something else with my life. And you literally had to start over as an actor, right? I mean, must have been like starting over for you. I remember you did Southie back then.
I was definitely starting over.
Was that scary for you? Was it exciting? What kind of emotion were you going through?
Yeah, well, I'm 18 years old. I become, you know, a member of one of the most famous bands in the world, and probably the most famous band in the world at the time. And 5 years later, it's over. Yeah. And I looked in the mirror one day and I was like, wow. I was still at sort of a maturity level of an 18-year-old. I didn't go through the college breakup. I didn't have that girlfriend who, you know, a typical 18, 19, 20-year-old has, and you go out with her for 4 years and you realize, you know what, I want to go this way in my life, and you want to go that way. Maybe I didn't have those, you know, life lessons. Being a performer, I was also at a time where I was sort of at the mercy of who was going to allow me to come into the game. I hadn't yet learned how to make my own way. It's one of the great things about surviving those times of uncertainty, surviving those times of struggle. I mean, I was out hitting the pavement. I would drive to New York 3 and 4 times a week, back and forth from Boston, to do auditions for movies after my New Kids career, and nobody would hire me. I couldn't get hired, you know, if I paid them to hire me, I couldn't get hired.
Why?
I don't know. I wasn't ready.
Was it that New Kid stigma, so you weren't ready?
I'm sure there were times when it was a New Kid stigma, but I'm sure there were times I walked in the room and brought the stigma with me. I started becoming about the work and stopped worrying about the results and some, you know, goal that was way out there in my future. You know, you can't make an Oscar speech before you even got the job. You know what I mean? Just get the job and be great at the job, and then see what happens. That might lead to another job, and that might lead to another job. And so every gig for me became the next challenge, the next way for me to learn something, to dig in and find something, even if it wasn't a great movie. I mean, I did The Sixth Sense. That was like a career-altering performance, and it was
You lost a lot of weight for that.
Yeah,
You put a lot into that role.
I did.
It was a small role.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced in my career, and it was physically, emotionally. I mean, it was one of the greatest challenges I'll ever face in my life.
I remember seeing that, and somebody said Donnie's in it, and I'm like, no, I didn't see him.
Yeah,
And then we had to go back. You were barely there. How much weight did you lose for
like
that?
40 pounds.
Unbelievable. I don't know if you guys
5 weeks.
ever saw that, but this guy was emaciated, and it was actually a phenomenal performance.
I knew it was a key role, and I felt tremendous pressure to earn the right to play that role.
Yeah.
Even though I was just offered the part by Night Shyamalan, I still felt like I have to become what this script says. I can't just show up. I have to suffer. I have to, go through something and change myself. I have to transform myself to become what the script is looking for, and not just, show up as Donnie with like a little makeup on.
Yeah.
But again, the reward for me was internal. It was external too, but for me, I was on a mission to do something. I had a goal, I accomplished it, and for me, I had just felt so much joy and such a reward that I could make that kind of commitment and have the result that I wanted, even a greater result than I imagined. I've had like 4 incarnations in my life. Oh man, you used to be a New Kid. Yeah, my sister loved you. And then it was like, oh man, you were in that movie, The Sixth Sense. I didn't even recognize you. And then it became, oh man, you were in Band of Brothers. My grandfather was in the war. He loved you. And now it's like, oh man, you're on Blue Blood. That's awesome. So for me, like, I didn't set out to change the narrative, but it's nice to know that by putting my mind to it, like I could go beyond, what people thought I was gonna be. I'm not just a kid who got lucky in a boy band.